Isn't that pretty? My agapanthus opened. They're just gorgeous. This is week 17 flower garden walkthrough. I've come to the conclusion that's a weed, and I'm going to be pulling it along with the rest of these weeds. I've added some stuff since the last time I did a video. The grapevine is looking amazing. I planted some atomic purple and salmon pastel gomphrena here. Everything is started from seeds, so it's going to have to grow. And then the jasmine is in bloom. Isn't that pretty? It smells amazing. I can't wait for it to grow up this trellis and be in bloom. The whole yard will smell. And then I started a whole bunch of mixed varieties of dahlia from seed. And I've got 2 of those here. I planted some in the front flower garden. My bush is getting bigger. This is the Red Riot bush honeysuckle. My tomatoes are getting massive over here. I need to get stakes for them. I need to get stakes for some in my vegetable garden too. They are getting huge. And then I have some carmine gomphrena that I planted here. These will look really beautiful because this bush will get much taller during the summer. And then I'll have the gomphrena, which gets quite large. The catnip is doing better, or not catnip, but catnip. Of course, I do have a lot of weeds. They're starting to pop up. So I'm going to have to go through and start pulling. I've placed some of my fruit trees. That's a nectarine, peach, an apricot that I'm going to plant. We're supposed to get more rain, and I was afraid to plant it and have it flood back here. And then have all of these trees sitting in water. So I'm leaving them in their pots for right now. I'm gonna get more dirt and build mounds so that way the root ball is above the flooding level, which is just usually standing water, but still, I don't want these guys left in sog. Back here I have some honey baby winter squash that's planted right there. And these 2 mounds here are pumpkin. And then over here I have Delecta winter squash planted. Once again, the weeds I'm not too worried about back here because once these start vining, they'll be natural weed suppressant. My maypop vine is gone crazy. This is the one that just showed up, and by the looks of it I have another one over there. So I am going to get some stakes out here with some wire and just have it run back and forth and see if it actually is a maypop wild passion fruit or if it ends up just being a vine. But either way, it's a pretty vine. My plant detector that I use to identify plants that I don't know sometimes is wrong on variety. My only shade plant at the moment, my poor calla lily, doing well despite all of the rain and kind of being wet back here. My pumpkins, with all of the rain, everything's kind of looking a little yellow. I need to come out and deadhead this rose. It's definitely needs it. Deadhead it so we can get some more blooms on it. My English ivy and my hyacinths are doing good. This, on the other hand, is not good. This is cow vine. that I don't want in my garden. And I'll probably get a rash for doing that. It does cause skin irritation. I have to fight a lot of natural vines here in South Texas. We get the cow vine, we get wild trumpet vine, we get a wild purple morning glory. They're very invasive. They will cover everything and kill everything. Finally getting some flowers to open up on my rose bush over here. This one is True Passion, but it's kind of a orangey red. But oh, are those blooms beautiful. What else do we got going on? My summer squashes are looking good. And over there, I think all of these I planted. Yeah, all of these I've planted and shown you guys, but they're doing well. So should have zucchini soon. And then I planted some more of the dahlias from seed. I have them here and there. So first time ever planting them from seed. My passion fruit is doing great. You see it's really growing. So, and the blooms are beautiful on this. My neighbor gave me these, and he says these are supposed to be a variety of maypop. The leaf structure is different than the wild one. So, but he has these, and he says the fruits are amazing. So I cannot wait for that. And then I've got random wild corn growing from the animal feed, which I thought was amusing. Is that not breathtaking? I love salvias. I'm definitely going to be planting a lot more of this. I want to get more. My blue queen is doing good, but the dollar weed is starting to take over. I'm going to have to come through here and weed. But are those just not just exquisite? Wanted to see what variety these are. This is Bonfire Salvia. I am definitely getting more of this, and I want to plant a whole flower tray and plant that in my front flower garden, because that is so bright and vibrant, and it's about knee high, so I mean it's grown a decent height. My Vitex bush is about to bloom, and that will look so striking next to this, because the blooms on the Vitex is purple and the bush is getting much larger. I'm really impressed on how fast these bushes grow. I mean, look how dense they are at the bottom. And these are going to be just loaded. I mean, you see all of the flower buds. Sorry, I'm being jerky with the camera. But look at all the flower buds on this thing. So this is going to be a big show of purple back here. I'm really excited. My Red Riot honeysuckle bush has put on probably about 1.5 feet of growth since I've planted it, maybe even more. I'd say it's probably about doubled in size. It looks amazing. This is a Fuji red apple. It's a self-fertile Fuji apple. I'm going to be planting it here, I think. I may move it, but I wanted my apple trees more close to this fence, because if the apples shed fruit and it drops on the side of the fence where the animals are, I don't have to worry about pits or anything. So I made sure anything that has a pit or is a rock fruit, I plant it in the back, so that way if I feed it to the animals, I have to take the pits out. More summer squash. It's looking really good. It's starting to leaf out. The hyacinth's doing pretty good. And then I don't remember the name of this, but this is a plant I planted 2 years ago. Thought for sure it was gone, and I noticed these couple of purple leaves coming up. It's a type of purple leafed kind of, oh, it's not a clover, and it has really pretty pink trumpet-shaped flowers, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but I'm excited to see that it's coming back. The fire bush is looking really good. This thing will be as tall as I am by the end of summer. But aren't those leaves exquisite? The yellow and the chartreusey green and the bright red burgundies. I mean, the bush is beautiful. Anything else back here that's going on? Just a bunch of weeds, another corn. I'm thinking this might be, but it may be just a weed. I had some Mexican petunias planted back here, and I'm hoping that's what that is. It was doing good last year before the drought kicked in, so I'll be curious to see if that's what that is. If not, I'll be pulling it. It may be some type of ragweed or something. And then in my, this is another apple. And I don't have the variety of this one. But it's another self-fertile apple. All of my apple trees are self-fertile, so I wouldn't need multiple varieties, even though I do have 3 apple trees. So I'm excited about that. And then I've got 2 loofah vines that I planted away from the fence so the birds couldn't eat the base of them, and I'm going to run a string across the top. I'm going to take my net that's on the inside of the fence. I'm going to go through and clip the zip ties, and then train this to grow on the fence to kind of come across. More corn. This is the nectarine. I think this is the nectarine. It's either a nectarine or an apricot. Unfortunately, some of the plants that I got from my neighbor, I didn't get tags or to put into the buckets, and now I don't remember the variety. So this one he gave to me because he didn't think it would do good here in Texas because we don't get enough chill hours. But I thought it was a pretty shaped tree and said, even if I don't get any fruit, it'll help provide some shade for these guys over here because they don't have a whole lot of shade. I do plan on doing something for them. I'm thinking I'm going to do cattle panel trellises. In here and create trellises and then plant the plants where they can't get them, have them grow up and over, something like maybe cucumber or something, because of course the goats will eat the leaves, the pigs will eat the leaves, so it's real difficult to get things started. And I'm thinking I was gonna fence off an area over here to plant grass and then break this up. But the more and more I watch YouTube videos and the pest pressure people have with their goats and animals as far as parasites on grass versus dry lot, I don't know if that's what I'm going to do. But I'm thinking about fencing off a section and planting a whole bunch of pumpkin vines. And then that way I would have pumpkins to feed my birds. Pumpkin is great for preventing parasites. My dogs eat a lot of pumpkin for the fiber. It prevents diarrhea. It prevents constipation. All around, pumpkin is a very healthy fruit or vegetable to feed your animals, and all of my animals would eat it, especially if I cut them open. I mean, the birds would love the seeds. So that is something I'm thinking about. This is in shimmer apple tree. This is not, but that is. That is something else I need to plant over I don't know if I'm going to plant it here. It gets a lot of afternoon sun. I want to come back and trim some of these branches out of here. And just, this tree is leaning. My husband wants to take it out completely, and I don't want to take it out completely because it does provide some shade back here. But this branch here, I'd kind of like to take out to allow more sun for my flower garden, especially now that I'm planting trees. I mean, I'm replacing branches with actual trees. So we'll see how that goes. Tons of thought process and decisions, but I got grass growing back here, amazingly enough. Granted, it's weed grass, so that is something I want to work on too in the future. Ugh, spider webs. Oh, spider webs. Walk around, walk around. So that is something I want to work on. Having a grass path that's just maybe Bermuda. Well, I don't want Bermuda grass because it sends out runners and that stuff gets everywhere. So I don't know, maybe ryegrass or something. The Texas bluebonnets aren't doing anything, but my pink salvia looks like they're starting to get some blooms. So we'll see how that does. Of course, the Vitex bush that I already pointed out, it's looking great. Oh my gosh, weeds, weeds, weeds. Everywhere's weeds. Down all of that mulch, free mulch from, the birds love when I throw it over because they don't have grass. I don't think that rose is coming back. I've given it a chance, so I am going to trim that back. And then the salvia over here, the leaves are purple. And then there's little calyx. It's really pretty. And it's really thickened up. I mean, those bunches are huge. Those are going to be really pretty once they start blooming. So, excited to see. So that is pretty much what's going on out here. A lot of weeding that needs to be done. Oh my goodness. Bossy hen, quit picking on him. God, she is so mean. My bossy girls, do not let the boys get on them. They get quite snotty. So that is what's going on right now in my flower garden for week 17. I just started 8 more flats of flowers. It's easier to start my flowers. I know I say this every time, but it is so much easier for me to start flowers and plants in flats so I can control their water when they're little and for germination, because I come out here and put seeds. I put a whole bunch. I did a handful of zinnia seeds out here. Not a one of them come up. And even if they did, you wouldn't be able to tell because of the weeds. And, birds fly in here and whatnot. So it's just easier for me to start them as seeds. And, within a couple weeks, I'll be able to bring them out and plug them in like I did with the gomphrena and the, speaking of birds, I get a lot of rock doves. Let me see her. I get doves and cardinals, tons of cardinals. But I'm sure the hummingbirds are here too. I seen a hummingbird, but I've got lots of trumpet flowers for them this year, so they should be very happy. I have not hung up my hummingbird feeders yet. It's just been too busy. But anyways, as I was saying, I start seeds in the seed flats because it's just easier for me to control what they're doing as they grow. And then when they get, you know, their first set of true leaves or their second set of true leaves, I bring them out here, and it just takes a few minutes with a dibber to poke a hole and stick them in, especially the 6-packs, because the dibber is about the size of, is the width of gosh, my brain is not working today, of the individual cells that my 6-packs are. So it's just come out here, poke a hole, plug the plant in. But I started a whole entire flat of zinnias, a whole entire flat of cosmos, and most of that will come out here to this garden, but I also have some that will go into the front garden. I started a lot more vine crops, squashes and melons. Some of them will go here, and then I'm going to do that fenced area, and I'm going to plant vines there. I figured once the vines get big enough, I can open up the fence and the birds can go in and take care of bugs, and it'll give them, you know, because those vine crops get so thick and they grow so fast, but it'll give them something to go through, and then it's not, the leaves aren't poisonous, so it won't hurt the birds if they eat them. I'll close it when the goats come out, because I don't want the goats to go into it. But you see the geese reaching through, getting the lettuce leaf, the grass. That's so funny. See if he does it again. All right, he's not. He's like, Mom saw me. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on in this flower bed. Let me pause this and take you up front, and then you can see the front flower bed. Okay. So this is a fig, and this is another apricot. These will go back there also into that back flower garden. Let's see. I have a lot of stuff that comes up that is wild, and I leave it. Even though it's growing in the cracks of my sidewalk, I leave it. One, and they're not open right now, they'll open in the morning, are these. They have really pretty little tiny pink star flowers. And then those flowers turn into these little red balls. I love this plant. I've tried to dig it up multiple times to plant it in my flower garden, and every time I dig it up, I kill it. So I left this one. It's big, it's beautiful. It's something that grows wild here. I don't remember the name of it. I love it, so it stays. But I do need to come out and remove my Christmas flowers and clean my patio. The chickens come over here, especially that little turd, and scratch my flower garden. So I get a lot of dirt outside of my gardens. Plus I walk hay back and forth on the sidewalk, so there's always hay all over my sidewalk. I sweep it, and 5 minutes later it looks like trash. But this big mound here is a wildflower. That's why it's sitting in my sidewalk. And then I have more salvia that I planted here. Hyacinth leaves. I don't remember what that is, but I do know it's a flower. And then the rest of this is weeds that is in between the bushes. My poor listerium bushes just got destroyed by that frost. I need to come out and trim the branches back. I wanted to wait and see to make sure the leaves wouldn't come, because sometimes the leaves do come back, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I do need to come and clean out the branches. This is the floss flower that keeps reseeding itself, that's in the cracks of the sidewalk. I leave it because this thing will be as tall as I am by the end of summer, and they have such pretty delicate little purple flowers. It is in the flower garden now too. It's spreading. It is the third year that it's come up. The very first year it came up, I did not plant it. It just showed up. A bird must have brought seeds or something, and I have not touched it. And it is tripled in size in 3 years. So I leave it. I also have chicory, the yellow flower, that is a wildflower. I didn't plant. It comes up. I leave it. I think the flowers are really pretty. They look like a yellow bachelor button. But it also is a medicinal plant. You can take the root of chicory and roast it and make coffee, and you can eat the flowers. There are a lot of health benefits to chicory. So I leave it, and it'll be used as an herb once I have 5 seconds to figure out how to use it. I've got foxglove coming up here. That's salvia. My garden has a ton of salvia. I love salvias. If you can't tell, back in my other flower garden, I love salvias. So this is a red salvia that's coming up here. And then you can see down here, these are our meadow sages that will be coming up, which sage and salvias are the same thing. And this is more salvia here that's coming up. Shasta daisies. I went and bought some petunias so I could have some color right now. This is dianthus that has come up. I used to have them all the way across, but last year the chickens dug them up really bad. But they have been coming up in my garden now for 3 years. The red flowers are salvia. I've got some parsley coming up there. That's absinthe. More salvia, and the leaves are looking really yellow from all of the rain. I need to come out and fertilize, but you can see all of the baby salvia that's coming up. So this will be full of these little red flowers. And that's what it'll look like. But I have the babies everywhere out here, so I am not complaining. I do have some weeds that I need to pull. The never-ending battle with this horseweed that's growing right here. I keep pulling it and it keeps popping up, so it's a never-ending battle. The bachelor's buttons are starting to look good. There's some of those dahlias that I planted out here. My first bachelor button is opening. Isn't that pretty? So I have one that's opening, and my snapdragons are starting to bud that I planted from seed. Petunias. I don't remember the name of this, and the damn chicken stole the tag. But I want to say it's Bee's Friend, but I don't think it is. I think it's something else. It might be Gala. But is that not pretty? I love it. More dahlias planted in the center. Some bluebells. Some hollyhocks planted in here. And then this was supposed to be a lollipop gaillardia, but it's not looking very lollipop-like, so I don't know what's going on with that. I noticed most of my gaillardia isn't coming up the way it's supposed to. I had some regular gaillardia that I planted in my back flower bed, and it has solid red and doesn't have the yellow fringe. That's oregano. I've had that here for 3 years. It's fantastic at growing. I got some bachelor buttons here, some more of that chicory. The middle, I have daffodils that are coming up, and tulips, and they did not bloom this year because we didn't get enough days of cold. So, no flowers. And then I do have iris that my neighbor gave me that I have planted here. We don't know what color it'll be because she has 3 colors, and she just dug up a bunch and handed it to me and said, here, break this up, plant it. So that is what I did. I have more of the the dahlias planted right there, and then another hollyhock. They don't seem to do very good. The leaves look bad. They're getting these brown splotches all over them. I do have some random sunflowers. They're short little sunflowers that I planted. I've got them here. Got one right there, one right there, and then a couple over there. So I'll have some short sunflowers that are in here. They're more of the delicate kind. I planted them on the back just to kind of give a backdrop to everything that's in the front. I planted some zinnias that are just starting to come up right here. So I will be out here with the zinnias. I will go back through and reweed the center section, and I will be plugging in zinnias here and some of the cosmos up here. This is going to be very tall and frilly and colorful. It's the first garden that everybody sees when they pull in my driveway, and it's, you know, my garden's kind of underwhelming. I need to find more time to come out here and weed. I started going through pulling the bricks up, pulling them, weeding, and restacking them, packing dirt underneath of the bricks so that they stand up. I got to right here. I need to finish going around. There's areas where I need to fill with dirt, but I don't think I'm going to use regular dirt. I think I'm going to get more black cow, which is a manure, and manure-based compost, and use that as a topper for in here instead of, I've been buying potting soil, and it just, I don't know, the plants don't seem to do very good in the potting soil I was buying. It's very woody, very mulchy, like planting in wood mulch. I don't know. I don't like it. I liked it at first because the dirt looked really nice, but after a few rains, all of the dirt sunk down, the wood chips came up, and I realized that most of the dirt was chunks of wood. And granted, I want the wood because it'll mulch. What are you doing, buddy? He's like, it's about me, Mom. So, I do plan on adding more flowers to this garden, and it does need some weeding. It's very underwhelming when you have to plant everything from seed, because it takes longer for stuff to come up. You know, it's instead of going to the store and buying a whole bunch of plants and plugging them in that are already grown and they're flowering and you have instant color. I'll have to wait for color, you know, kind of more like a perennial garden where you have to wait for the flowers to come up. But as I wait, you know, I think I'll have a lot more enjoyment knowing that I planted all of this stuff from seed. I went to a plant sale that they had. It was the Master Garden plant sale that was in Sealy, and I bought a bunch more irises. So I will probably be plugging some of them. I bought 6. I'll be either plugging them here or putting them in the flower garden in the back, and they're all multicolors. So I do need to get them into the ground, as I just bought them and I don't want them to die before I get them planted. And then the last part of my garden is this little corner section. I bought a big purple iris from Walmart that is going to go back into the back flower garden. I have, these are all snapdragons, and then I have a celosia there, but is that not pretty? Granted, it's got dirt on it because the rain has knocked it down and it's gotten really leggy. I probably need to cut the flower off so that way it can branch out. Probably should do that to all of them, but I'm impatient and I want flowers. It's an olive tree that needs to be planted in the back. I've got 2 of them, and that's, get out of the flowers, you big goob. That's agastache that I have planted there, and it's I think the apricot one. And then I've got some 4 o'clocks planted in the back. In the spring, this bed doesn't get a whole lot of sun. It gets maybe 4 to 5 hours of sun, but in the summer it gets all of the heat. And I know the 4 o'clocks will do well in that. By then the snapdragons will have petered out. And then I will plant something that is definitely more, buddy, it's more heat tolerant, because this bed is very hot. I'm thinking about plugging in some sunflower seeds over here and just having a big sunflower corner over here. I think that would be pretty. This is lemon balm, and these are garlic chives and more chickweed weeds. So, Pumpkin, why are you digging in my flowers? So this is what I deal with. Normally they're in their cage by now, but I started the video before I had put them up. Pumpkin, you're making a mess. You don't care, do you? No. All right, I think I'm going to stop it here so I can catch him and go put him where he needs to be. And Pumpkin says, have a great day. And I